Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Learn Find Profit. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day. I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. As of right now, I've been watching SQQQ all morning. I've been seeing that it's been trying to recover from this aggressive sell-off that it had. So it dropped about 3% on the day as of right now, a little bit over 3%. But we could see that it's been trying to recover ever since that drop. As of right now, what I've been looking at is if it's been making higher highs and higher lows as well. I'm just trying to identify, like, when's a good time to enter, when's a good time to exit, and trying to get a better feel of, it all together, right? So as of right now, we could see that it's definitely trying to push up. It has a slight resistance right now, right around 1427. And the inverse ETF, which is TQQQ, looks like it's selling off. Again, TQQQ is the one that has a little bit more of a descending pattern. It looked like it was trying to show signs of potential recovery, but it looks like it hit that resistance, which is right around that EMA line, and now it's starting to show signs of a sell-off. So something that I'm seeing as that it could definitely try to push up to about like $14.50 to maybe $15 based on previous patterns. So looking at the 1 day, 1 minute chart, we could definitely see that, it's definitely trying to push up. I don't know how much longer it's going to actually push up. So, but yeah, hope you guys are all having a great start to your morning. I'm going to take just so I have some skin in the game for this specific ticker, right? I'm going to take a 1,000 share position. I mean, it's showing signs of an uptrend. And so I'm in at a little bit under 1425. So right now 1425 is my ideal or my overall entry point. So what I'll do here is I'll set my alert. So again, that's about with a 50% position. I'll put my alert when it breaks at or above that specific price point. And then when it goes above 1440, I'll set my other alert. There we go. So we're getting a nice little pullback closer to that EMA line. So now would have been a better time to have entered. We could see the MACD is descending a little bit, right? We could see the RSI is pointing down a little bit as well. So as long as it maintains its overall pattern and direction, that's what I'm going to find to be a little bit more important. Okay, so someone's saying the 10 minutes. Okay, sweet. Appreciate that, hon. Thank you again for the reminder. So he's looking at the 10-day, 30-minute chart, so we can see that the SMA line is acting a little bit more as a support. Looking at it on the 20-day, 1-hour chart, same thing, pretty similar. I'm gonna have to sneeze real quick, so 1 quick second. Oh, it went away. All right, but let's continue and follow through with this. So ticker symbol DGAS, right? DGAS is up. Oh my goodness. That would have been nice, right? So DGAS from 1460 all the way up to 1621. 180-day analysis, definitely looking like it's trying to make higher highs now, right? Since the sell-off that it had on Friday and the nice little green day that it is having today, up over 10% on the day. One thing that you want to ask yourself is, does it have more margin to continue to uptrend? So as of right now, I mean, it's definitely pushing up. It's still, I wouldn't say it's making higher highs as of right now, but I mean, based on pre-market highs and how it opened, I mean, it's still showing signs of an uptrend. On /NG, it's still showing signs of a downtrend, so it makes sense on why it can continue to downtrend. So it makes sense on why this is in our active watch list, according to its inverse ETF. So what I'll do here is I'll set my alert. So GoPro just broke above 624. I'll set my alert there, and then I'll remove you guys on it from it, since you guys is not showing signs of an uptrend, right? JNUG is the one that's showing signs of a, or is red on the day, right? Red on the day, but it is trying to show signs of a recovery. So is it going to get rejected by this 1 day, 1 minute SMA? We'll set the alert there. So we got SQQQ trying to recover. There we go. Oh, appreciate that, Luis. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling better. I do apologize for the delayed live stream. I know I was about 10 minutes late, so my apologies on that one. So let's see. direction should change. Okay, let me check it out, Darren. Appreciate you tuning in. Okay, ticker symbol FE. I like it. I like the consistent pattern. I like the 1 day, 1 minute chart also. It's still showing signs of an uptrend. I find that to be pretty attractive. On the 180-day chart, I like the ascending uptrend pattern, right? So I'm going to set my alert for the break above the EMA line. The RSI is starting to curve back in. So is the MACD. Definitely something that we want to take into consideration. And based on the overall pattern and direction and how it normally moves, we could draw like, a conservative resistance line to try to identify its support and its resistance, right? So we can go like this to have a little bit of a better understanding of like, when's a better buy point, when's a better sell point. Overall margin is about 5%. It already covered quite a bit. So if it were to go according to plan, it would be about a little bit over 3% margin of profit that it would have left to cover. So I definitely see why this one would be in someone's active watch list, as it is showing signs of an uptrend. So I just added it to mine, and we can simply follow up with it. I'm also going to set my alert if it ends up breaking its pattern and pulls back and then continues to sell off. Then I would make sure that I remove it from my watch list. So let's see, new question. What is the green line on the chart? So Andrew, I'm not too sure if you've taken time to complete the course, but it's the SMA indicator, so it's the simple moving average. I would really encourage you, like before you actually start trading, to please complete the entire course as we cover a bunch of these FAQs. So, but I do appreciate you tuning into the live stream. Here we go. This is definitely going to be one that I have to be a little bit more patient with today. Okay. Alrighty. Is there anything that you guys are watching, if it's okay for me to ask, is there anything that you guys are watching that is showing signs of an uptrend? Not like currently showing signs of an uptrend, so it's trending up on the day, and that it's still a good deal. So it's showing signs that it has a little bit more margin for it to cover. Again, an active watch list, not one that's pending a reversal, so please take that into consideration. One that's showing signs of an active uptrend. Okay, so I'm calling out MRK. Again, it has to be trending up and it has to still have margin for it to cover, right? So MRK is green on, overall ascending uptrend pattern. Overall resistance based off previous patterns is right around $72, or 72 to 72.50. But yeah, I totally understand why this is one that someone would focus on, so I like it. Let's see, LABD. Okay, so it's trending up on the day. It's down. It has quite a bit to recover. That's like at the 5 day, 5 minute chart. Overall support around that $36 area. It normally gets rejected as of right now by the SMA line. It looks like it's showing a little bit more signs of a peak formation. Yeah, but it's a little bit more on the overextended side. Do we see this? So yeah, we're watching SQQ. We already covered. UGAZ. UGAZ is not trending up on the day though. Okay. I'm gonna set the alert here. TNDM still trending below the EMA line. Has an up and coming earnings report as well, so I'd watch out for that. And looking at the previous highs on Friday, we're reaching this area where it's becoming a little bit more on the overbought. So we could experience like a really strong resistance right around $35. We got SQQQ making highs for the day. WBA definitely showing signs of an uptrend, but it's already at the highs that it was at on Friday. So is this thing already overextended? Yeah, it's not a good deal. It's already overextended. Tesla up another 2% on the day, very overextended, and it makes sense on why it would pull back before it continues to uptrend. So looks like it's showing signs still of an ascending uptrend pattern, but yeah. I would not trade this at all. This is 100% a pump and dump. Yeah, CROX still showing signs of an uptrend, right? Just pretty low volume. Definitely still pushing up on the day. And yeah, overall ascending uptrend pattern on the 180-day chart. This is one that I would watch very closely if you're someone that's struggling to identify something that's pushing up. Just, yeah, it makes sense. So you guys starting to show signs of a change of direction. Here we go. Whoa. I think this went through a reverse stock split. Okay. So it changed its price target red. Okay. That's crazy, but ever since that push up, it's been trading between the middle and bottom VWAP. So it's actually been making lower lows. So I would be, on alert for that. That it's very overextended and, yeah. Okay, so it got bought out. But from a price target of 190, that's ridiculous. Wow. Let's check this out. So it looks like it's been trying to hold around this middle VWAP area. Yeah, looks like DGAS is selling off a little bit, but let's understand its pattern, right? So DGAS is selling off as of right now, but let's understand its pattern, like which one is actively trading. So it makes sense on why, because natural gas was so oversold on the 1 day, 1 minute chart, it made sense on why it would try to recover. Look at this. Again, it's its pattern, right? But what oversees and outweighs the sell-off is its direction. So is this going to continue to make lower lows and lower highs? Always something, because we have access and we're aware of the futures, this is why we should use this to our advantage. We could see that its overall direction for natural gas is still trending down. So yes, DGAS is selling off and UGAS is pushing up, but for how much longer, right? If this pattern continues, and it makes sense on why UGAS then will start to peak out. So let's just make sure that we remember that. Definitely something that I think a lot of people should pay attention to. So I think this is a great question to ask. So with the market starting to recover, do you worry about QQQ trying to recover as well? So yeah, it totally makes sense on, its overall shift of direction when SQQQQ or SQQQ started to really just show signs of a shift of pattern or direction, is when the market began to sell off, right? Now that the market is trying to recover, then it makes sense on why this thing might begin to descend as well. So 100% that makes sense. Can I check out ticker symbol Ford? Of course. So Ford is pushing up on the day. Overall direction should be pointing down though, right? Yeah, it's overall been a descending pattern, and it just looks a little bit more on the overbought side and overextended. So not so much of a good deal. It went through its good earnings, right? So it definitely still pushed up, but how much longer is it going to push up? That's a question that you might want to ask yourself and stuff like that. So that's the main reason that I've been staying away from, again, these descending patterns. Here we go. Alrighty, let's sell off to that SMA line. Are we going to get a bounce, or are we going to continue to sell off? Let's look at it last time. How it tried to act as a resistance. We'll have to see if it acts as a resistance this time. So it means that if overall market conditions begin to recover and they go back to ascending, then yeah, SQQQ then will begin to sell off, and TQQQ will begin to uptrend. So I'm gonna check this out, and if it begins to cover, it looks like it's still selling off. So as of right now. Oh yeah. So for those that are talking about are scared of the markets recovering and stuff like that, one day doesn't mean anything, right? It's been showing signs of it trying to consolidate and stuff like that, and it's recovering a little bit. But again, we're not seeing higher highs or anything like that, or a consistent pattern that's showing signs of an uptrend. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. And again, if the market does end up recovering, then that just means that we have to just change our shift of direction, or attention to less of the bear ETFs and more on the bull ones. So very simple change in pattern, right? Or change in focus. So nothing that I think we should be worried about. If anything, it's more in our benefit, because then we'll have a little bit more options to trade. There we go. So just like expected, do you guys see why I said pay attention to its overall direction for DGAS? So DGAS was selling off, but then it made sense because of the overall direction of natural gas on why is making lower lows and lower highs as well, right? Does that all make sense? Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on this. Okay. Sweet. At least congrats. Matt, I like that. Congrats. So Matt made 1.6% on JDST in the first 10 minutes of the market open. That's great. Well, I'm down, right? I'm down about that 1.6%. So, or whatever it is, that at an average of 14.25. I'm down about 2%. So, but again, I'm just trying to focus on its overall direction. And if it continues to make lower lows and lower highs, then I'll take my loss. But yeah. Out of looking at everything, I'm not too sure how you guys feel about it, but I'm having trouble identifying, the direction, because I thought I understood the direction of where SQQQ was headed, but I should have given it a little bit more time, obviously now. And the other ETFs that we were talking about was DGAS. This is the only one that made a little bit more sense to me, but the reason that I didn't find this to be too attractive is because it's so overbought already that I don't believe that it has much more margin to cover. Definitely made sense on, why it had some margin and stuff like that, but it looks a little bit more on the overextended side, where then it can actually begin to make lower lows and actually change directions, right? The other ones that we've been talking about before, like LEBU and LEBD, LEBU still pushing up on the day. It's up 5%. So again, I view it to be a little bit more on the overbought side than oversold. So the thing that I'm having trouble with is like, okay, we have something that is overbought. Yes, it's trending up, but for how much longer? Like, is the direction going to change, like in the middle of the day, and then I'm gonna have to I'm gonna be caught on a red trade, and then I'm gonna have to shift its direction, or I can just wait and try to take advantage of it when it actually begins to make higher highs and stuff like that. So that's why I'm having a little bit of trouble. So I made $27 on, what's that? Okay, ticker symbol ON. Semiconductor. Overall descending pattern. Looks like it just broke above the EMA line. Let's check this out. It's up 12% on the day. So it's showing more signs of a peak formation. So if it makes higher highs, then yeah, but as of right now, it looks a little bit more on the oversold side. So overbought side, I apologize. Bam. Oh, on JNUG. Okay, I like that. Overall, being able to buy the dips, sell the highs with this descending SMA. A little bit risky, but I like it. So, and this is a question that I've been getting a little bit more often. It's, do I take risks / reward, kind of like the golden ratio, right, that we cover in the course. The course I'm in to have that concept of the risk / reward is so you have, like when you're just starting out, to have a little bit more of an understanding of why it's so important to focus on stocks that show a little bit more signs of growth than they do of loss. I still implement the general idea to my trading like every day. Like just the example that I gave you of like why I don't want to trade DGAS is like, yes, DGAS is trending up, and yes, it can continue to cover a small margin, but it's so overbought that the risk / reward just in my eyes isn't necessarily there. Do I still keep the sole focus of the 5-to-1 ratio to be something that like it has to meet? No, I don't have to be that strict to myself. I'm also a little bit more like open with my rules, which doesn't mean that that's something that you have to have, especially when you're just getting started. But I think that it's a great like base to build off of, to have that risk / reward concept, and then you can refine it and become more comfortable as time goes on. So that would be my approach. Okay. Oh, so cool. Ozzy, super happy to hear that. CROX. Okay, so CROX is definitely pushing up on the day. It's up over 3%, which is actually very impressive for it. It usually doesn't move this aggressive, and it just broke above this descending SMA line, so that's pretty sweet. So now we're starting to actually make higher highs. So it's a little bit more on the overbought side. You guys can see the previous resistance and the previous resistance here, but this just means that it actually makes sense on why it could be in the active watch list, because it's trying to cover. So Serge, it's not like at what point would it make sense to take a position on SQQQ. Just because I took a position doesn't mean anything, right? The thing that I like about it is on the overall, pattern and direction. If it continues, it's a ascending uptrend pattern. Being able to see, being able to see how it's been ascending, right, on how it continues to make higher lows and higher highs as well. It makes sense that it's closer to the support. It makes sense on why it can push up. It doesn't mean that it has to, though, right? Especially on the 1 day 1 minute chart. I thought it was making higher highs, but then it changed as it sold off and broke below the middle VWAP. So now if it starts to show signs of a rejection and it tries to push up and then gets rejected by the SMA line, it's a matter of time for you to become a little bit more aware of its patterns and its direction for the day. And if you see that it begins to sell off, then obviously it's not going to be one of our focuses for the day. So yeah. But yeah. So Starbucks. Okay, so Starbucks definitely pushing up. Okay, more at a resistance as of right now, so a little bit more on the overbought side. Okay, so if the pattern continues of it making higher highs, it would make sense on why it can continue to uptrend, right? So SQQQ just broke above $14. That's great. But yeah, you can see that there's definitely been a previous resistance right around this general area on just why it's not the best deal. It doesn't mean that it's not a good investment. It's just like, why it's not the best deal as of right now. And that's really just it. So on the 1 day 1 minute chart, yes, it's pushing up. It's still showing signs of an uptrend. So if you think that the margin is worth it, just understand like when it bounces and where it peaks out at, and ask yourself, is that margin worth it? If it is, great. If it's not, then guess what? You don't have to take a position, right? So here we go. I like the MACD. I would like to see a little bit more of a pullback before I would consider a re-entry. So now that I bought, now you know it's not a good time to buy. But just kidding. ASNA is up 5% on the day. Okay, so its change in direction has been changing a little bit, right? With its overall resistance at $5, it used to bounce at the SMA line and then recently broke below that SMA line, so broke that pattern. Now the SMA line might start acting as a resistance, which is something that we want to take into consideration. Also, is it going to begin to make higher highs? And if so, again, do we really think that this thing's going to just shoot up? Or looking at its actual flow, right, and characteristic, it'll probably, push up, then pull back, then push up, then pull back, and push up, and then pull back. And again, that takes time. So for those that are asking about my position, all I did was I added more to my position when it broke above the EMA line, just like I did like on my dip buys for, I think it was UYAS. That's all I did. The MACD is showing signs of a reversal. I don't like adding when it's selling off, so I like adding when it's starting to show signs of a recovery. So that's all I did. Nothing fancy. Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought I did it slow. I talked about it before I took my position, so I should have elaborated, I guess, a little bit more. Okay, today is a boring day. My goodness, I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to be, or trying at least to be exciting, but I'm not even feeling that great either. And then with the market, it's not that it's not doing well. A lot of you guys are doing extremely well, locking in profit. So I'm super happy to hear that. That's just my dingleberry butt. Taking positions too early or trying to identify the biggest thing that I focused on last week was simply focusing on direction. Whatever's actively trending up, I'll trade it. Is the margin of profit worth it? Okay, good. I understand its direction. I understand the opportunity cost. It's worth it, and we're good. So, Ricky, you need some milk. I don't know about that, but yeah. So I'm trying to make the most of how today's playing out, and not every day is gonna make you feel like $1,000,000. True. But I just wanted to remind you guys how important it is to focus on direction and to lock in profits. So you guys are one of the things that I really, like one of the things that I really have been like noticing in our group is people are now talking about locking in profits too early, which I think is an amazing issue to have. It's an amazing issue to have in comparison to like not having to lock in profits at all. And for it to become like something that we talk about in our group, we could see that definitely that value of locking in profits consistently is becoming a true habit of ours. And I think that's what's important. So I just wanted to remind you, and again, thank you guys for, working so hard and always trying to stay green and stuff like that. So, yep, there it goes. Yeah. So again, it just has to do with a matter of time and overall direction. I'm going to try to keep you guys up to date with, I'm going to write down the different ETFs and the different stocks that I'm watching. I'll make a post right now, right after this live stream. Well, actually, let's just do it right now. So overall, SQQ, I would say that it's undecided. I don't know if it's going to be trending up on the day. I don't know if it's going to be trending down. So because of that, I would hold off before investing in it. And the same thing follows with TQQQ, right? Diaz is trending up on the day, but I would have it as a pending reversal because it's so overbought that it would make sense on why, natural gas can start to actually recover and make higher highs. So again, just my friendly reminder on that. When it comes down to JNUG looking a little bit closer to /GC, you could see why JNUG is bearish on the day, so why it's selling off as it's descending. But the thing is, the thing for JDST, which is the one that's actively trending up today, you want to ask yourself, is the margin of profit even worth it? It should be getting very close to the SMA line, and you just have to ask yourself, is that margin of profit worth it? If it is, great. But again, just take the margin, the potential for loss into consideration as well. And then we were talking about LABU and LABD. LABU up on the day, but it's so close to this resistance that it makes sense on why it can begin to sell off. So then it's a stock that's up on the day, but that's so overbought that the trade might not even be worth it. So I'm kind of stuck in this rut where yes, things are actively trending up, but they're so overbought that they're not a good deal. So they're just simply not meeting my criteria. And yeah, let's check that out. So SSGI. Okay, so I'll definitely set a couple of alerts, but I can see that it's going to take quite some time for this to overall change its direction. So yeah, I'm struggling to find anything to trade. I honestly like this position that I took on SQQQ. That was definitely not the best trade, right? There's no question about that. It was almost like a forced entry, and it was very easy. It was very early when I thought that I understood its direction for the day. So I think one of the best things that we can do today is, be extremely selective with what we choose to, invest in today, just because we understand that if you're having trouble identifying its direction or, if the margin of profit is worth it, let's take a step back, because again, if you're struggling to identify like what can make you money, one of the things that I would focus on most, and always have this in mind, is not giving back. So what's worse than, like not trading in a day? Being red, right? So at least if you're not seeing any value in anything, just understand that then you could experience a red day. So you know how it feels when you have a pattern and you setup that's just a ideal setup, where it's showing signs of an uptrend, the margin of profit is worth it, the direction is obvious, right? Let's be selective, let's be patient, and let's just set ourselves up for success. So I apologize for my inconsistent entry point on SQQQ. I'll keep you guys up to date. And again, you don't want to be in the red, right? So I could be a perfect example of why not to overtrade. So yeah, I'll keep you guys up to date with my overall position. I know today's stream is a little bit short, so it's about 35 minutes, but I just don't see overall market conditions in my favor as of right now. So we'll just have to follow up, and then as the probably like after the 1 hour, no, we're about that 1 hour mark already of the market open, so maybe around 1 hour and 30 minutes to about 2 hours, we should have a little bit more patterns to analyze to see what's going to be trending up or down on the day. So really do appreciate your guys' time. Hope you guys all have an amazing rest of your Monday. Let's set a goal to learn something new, and feel free to share it with either our group or with someone in your inner circle. So thank you guys again for your time. Continue working hard, continue following your dreams. Let your passion be what drives your success. You're missing the energy. I know. I definitely feel a little bit under the weather, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, hope you guys have an absolute amazing rest of your Monday. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy.